question is, who are we comparing ourselves to, and how high is our mental bar of standard of acceptance being set? Furthermore, are we surrounded by and do we have positive mentors, models, and inspirations? Because there's an inherent principle found in nature and also found in our minds that wherever we are, we always seem to be in the middle. And a really quick and easy way to illustrate this is just if you just look around and do a 360-degree pan, from our perception, we're in the middle. We're basically in the middle of this dome. If we look out on the world, usually it's this dome-like structure that we're in the middle of at a 360-degree angle. But furthermore, if we look at how we look at things in our mind, how we compare things in our mind, we might complain that we are overweight. We might say, "Oh, I'm 10 pounds overweight. I really, need to shed this 10 pounds." And we think, "Oh, that's so hard. How am I going to do this?" But in reality, there are people who, number one, don't even have any food to eat, who are just struggling to get by and survive. And that's one side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum, there's people who are trying to lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds. So either way, we're in the middle. So that is just two simple ways of looking at and understanding this sense of middleness that we all seem to have and really seems to be innate in our minds, and how we compare things and sort of build up and construct our paradigms and our realities. Now the question is, since we have this inherent principle and this inherent capacity, are we going to allow it to beat ourselves down, or are we going to allow it to uplift us and inspire us to success? Meaning we can, compare ourselves to other people and say, "Oh, well, I don't have this or I don't have that. No, my life sucks." Or we can look down at other people and say, "Oh, I'm way better than them," or "I'm way better than that." And we can say, "Oh," and sort of have this sort of false sense of pride in being better than other people. And that's really just going to bring us down in the end. It sets up really a vicious cycle and a malevolent cycle that's not going to serve us. So then the question is, how can we use this and facilitate this process to uplift us towards success? Well, the easy and the simple answer, which is what we're going to explore more deeply in this video, is to, number one, surround ourselves with positive mental models and inspirations, and to continually raise our mental standards of acceptance of what's okay and what is good. And this is important because oftentimes the mentors and models that are readily available in our society and culture or maybe around us may not actually be inspiring us or motivating us to really achieve very much. At the worst, they may set the bar so low that it doesn't take much to actually achieve or overcome that. Or on the other hand, they may just be trying to get us to achieve their vision or their accepted model rather than achieving our own true and creative potential. So from that, we can see that, number one, it's important, yes, to have positive models, mentors, and inspirations, but not in a way where we blindly follow them, but in a way that we are inspired to fulfill our own true and creative potential. And number two, that it's really easy to be the best, it's really easy to be satisfied if the bar is set really low. Meaning if you're interested in business and all of your friends are broke, just the fact that you might make $5 or you might have an idea for a business, that might be acceptable. But if you're surrounded by people who are multimillionaires, who are very financially stable, very financially successful, that you're just one little step or $5 or simple idea isn't going to really be enough because they're setting the bar much higher. And it's just one example which illustrates the principle that is applying to a lot of different contexts. Or an easy way to do it is just being a big fish in a small pond. Yet it's important to point out that when we're speaking of comparisons and influences and models and inspirations, it's important to make a few distinctions. Number one, to be clear, it's not about judging or belittling yourself or anyone else or having any sort of woe is me mentality. It is about feeling inspired, motivated, and uplifted to make bigger and better choices and thus take bigger and better actions. It's not about following in someone else's footsteps, trying to conform to what they say, or even being full of a sense of envy of what other people have. It's about seeing possibility and seeing inspiration. It's about feeling that you know what, maybe I can achieve this. Maybe I can make something happen. Maybe I can go a little bit further. What I have right now is good, but maybe I can stretch a little bit more and push a little bit forward, or a little bit further. It's really about having positive influences in our life that inspire us to do, be, and have more. And someone that can help us see a bigger picture of ourselves and then challenge and motivate us to keep growing and expanding. And there's a good illustration of that which I heard recently, which basically says if someone says, hey, go out and run a mile, you're just going to go out and you're going to run a mile and you're going to run that time that you can do. But if you put someone next to you who's just a little bit faster, you're going to run just a little bit faster. So it's really using this idea, using these principles, using these innate tendencies and capacities in our mind and in reality to work for us and to uplift us into of more of an ability to fulfill and express and embody our true and creative potential. And again, this comes down to being aware of where we're setting our mental bar of acceptance, who we are comparing ourselves to, and really who our models, mentors, and inspirations actually are. And this may take a little bit of digging, a little bit of exploration, because sometimes these influences are subconscious. They're things which we aren't currently aware of, but are really guiding us and motivating us and controlling us in ways which we're obviously not aware of. It's going to come from childhood or past conditioning or past experiences, but something which should be made conscious and should be made aware of so that it can then be replaced with something that's going to be much more positive, much more uplifting, and it's going to help us to, again, see that bigger picture, to be inspired, motivated, and driven to be more of who we really are and thus express more of our own innate creative potential in whichever way that needs to express. So if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.